Nearly 2 months after being shot several times, a Monte County Sheriff's deputy is on the road to recovery here in the Metroplex. I'm Mechell Dixon, and I'll bring you the latest on Deputy James Boyd. Now, this is typically the time when winter wheats, like the field that I'm in here, are approaching harvest time. But experts say that's not the case because of weather damage. Now, if you'll take a look at this, experts tell me that stalks are supposed to be about thigh high this time of year, and as you can see, that is not the case. Also, I'm going to come down here. They say that the leaves, you should also see a lot more green on these leaves instead of the yellow. Turning your music down, keeping your windows cracked, and checking your mirrors are ways EMTs say you can make the roads much safer for them and everyone else. While downtown remained untouched, that wasn't the case in other parts of Knox City because the storm started here on the southeast side of town and roared through, leaving death and destruction in its wake. This is the reason hundreds of people have packed Riverbend Nature Center for Bug Fest. I am a clown. Thank you very much. I'm taking a bow. Back at you, baby. The rising cost of food is not just causing a problem for the food bank, but it's also dishing up a dilemma for the people it serves. I'm Mechell Dixon, and I'll have more on that story. After making his purchase, Mr. George came out of the store, and that's when a strong gust of wind took his ticket right out of his hand. Therapy for Monte County Sheriff's Deputy James Boyd is a balancing act. Since April 6th, he's been undergoing physical, speech, and cognitive therapy at Pate Rehabilitation in Anna, Texas.
Physical rehab right now, they're just pushing me further than where I was. Just kind of preparing for going back to work.
On March 21st, Boyd was on the job in Bowie when he was shot. He pulled a car over, and the driver shot him 3 times. 2 bullets struck his bulletproof vest. The third grazed his forehead.
It took away part of the scalp and sent small bone fragments into the brain and left a bullet fragment on top of the brain.
It's because of that head injury that Boyd is now in rehab. Since driving makes up 75% of Deputy Boyd's job, his therapy is geared toward getting him back in a patrol car.
1024.
Assignment completed.
1025.
5 days a week, he works on a driving simulator while answering questions, which works on his multitasking skills.
1033.
Emergency.
A lot of our patients, we see that attitude when something like this happens to them. It gives them a perspective on life, and they're just lucky to be alive. And so I think that they learn a lot from each other in that process and on the journey.
A journey Boyd says will lead him back to patrolling the streets of Monte County again. In Anna, Texas, Mechell Dixon, KFDX 3 News. Michelle Morrison is a psychiatric nurse, but she's also a mother who's on a mission. And that mission is to save her daughter, along with other teenagers, from the synthetic drug K2. K2 is comprised of herbs sprayed with chemicals that deliver a dangerous trip when smoked.
I have a daughter that started using it at 17, and that's the main reason I came here. And not just for her, but for the other kids.
Morrison says her daughter is now 19 and addicted to K2. That's why she asked counselors to ban it in Wichita Falls. K2 actually became illegal in Texas back in 2011, but Morrison says her daughter bought this colorful package of the substance in a local store. And substance abuse counselors say folks ages 13 to 29 will do whatever it takes to get their hands on it.
One kid told me that if he doesn't have the money to buy K2, that there is a place here in town that sells it, of course he didn't give me the name, that will take video games. So they're trading $40, $50 video games for $6 to $8 worth of K2.
Hardman says K2 is highly addictive, but people are still drawn to it because for years it could not be detected in a drug test. But he says more than a year ago, that changed. And now Michelle Morrison wants another change, for counselors to pass an ordinance banning K2 in Wichita Falls. And in case you're wondering, here in the state of Texas, since April 22, 2011, it has been illegal to manufacture, distribute, possess, or sell the substance. Well, nearly 100 people spent their lunch break today at Wichita Theater, but instead of taking stage directions, they joined forces in directing their pleas to the heavens.
If we don't get rain, it's going to be It's going to be bad.
Prayers were offered up Wednesday afternoon inside Wichita Theater, where more than 80 people gathered for the Pray for Rain assembly. Although it was emceed by Pastor Reggie Coe, it was coordinated by the executive director of Inheritance Adoptions.
God likes for people to come together and humbly request things before Him. So I just felt like as a Christian agency, we could just be the ones to organize it.
There shall be showers of blessing.
2 years ago, residents in Electra met once a week at City Hall to pray for a substantial amount of rain. Several months later, their prayers were answered. But over the past few months in Wichita Falls, residents have prayed for rain individually. But here, many gathered to do it as a group.
We know that men can't create rain, only God can. So we just beg and plead and desperate cry for rain.
We believe in the goodness of God, that He's the creator and giver of all things that are good. So it's very appropriate to ask our Heavenly Father for that which we need.
Rain is certainly needed because the lack of it is taking a toll on the agriculture, landscaping, and many other industries. Now, coordinators were thrilled that so many people attended today's Pray for Rain assembly, and they hope even more people show up at their next one, which is still being planned. Some critters associated with Cajun country stopped by KFDX and got up close and personal with employees.
They got tape on their mouths, they're good.
Several small alligators,
there's a jumping game,
along with this 8-foot one, were brought by a man who's nationally known.
I actually started out my career on Animal Planet. I did River Monsters with Jeremy Wade. After I did that, I went on to do my own show on CMT called Gator 911. The last 2 years I spent on A&E with Billy the Exterminator.
But this weekend, Gary Siraj will spend time in Wichita Falls and bring more than just gators to Cajun Fest. He has snakes.
I'm 16-foot albino Burmese python.
There's also a tortoise who will slowly mesmerize you.
How old you say this turtle is?
40 to
Tortoise?
50.
About 50.
These reptiles will entertain folks at Cajun Fest.
We've actually got a 12 by 12 little wading pool. We fill it with water and we tape our little alligators up safely and we let them get in. We let the kids get in with them. It's really cool.
But Siraj says they will also be used to educate.
We're from Beaumont, Texas, which is on the Gulf Coast. And you know what? In the 3 counties that we have on the Gulf Coast down there, we have over 400,000 alligators. So we really like to educate. It's a big part of what we do. We like to get out throughout Texas and show people exactly what the rest of Texas has down south.
And you can catch the show during the 6th annual Cajun Fest. Mechell Dixon, KFDX 3 News.